like to show you what learning maths is like at Bydales. We're really looking forward to teaching you maths in September. The first thing we do when you come into our classrooms is a 5-minute memory challenge. So today's challenge is the first question: what does rounding mean? Why would you use a calculator? When would you maybe not use a calculator? What is a scientific calculator? Have a go at those now, and then we will compare your answers. Hi. So, what does rounding mean? Lots of possible answers. Rounding means we just tidy up the number a little bit more to get it better. It doesn't mean making it smaller, it doesn't mean making it bigger, it just means getting closer to its highest place value. When would you use a calculator? I would use it whenever it's too complicated for me to do the work, or when I've got one with me. But again, lots of possible answers. When would you not use a calculator? I don't use it when I'm in the shops. I don't use it when I'm just needing to do a quick, simple calculation. Some people on their smartphone use them much more than they used to. But for a simple calculation, it's much easier if we just know how to work it out. What is a scientific calculator? Now, a scientific calculator, I'll just scroll it down so you've got a picture, looks something like this. It has far more buttons than a normal calculator, and it can do more things. Now, if you have a smartphone, you might be used to seeing a calculator like this on your smartphone. You could try turning your smartphone sideways, in which case a scientific calculator will appear, and that works on most smartphones. So maybe have a look at your phone now if you're using it for your calculator and see whether you can find a scientific calculator. If you haven't got one at home, that's absolutely fine. Just use a normal small calculator for the tasks in this lesson. At Bydales, each lesson we agree on our learning outcomes, and you'll always have two. You'll have one for challenge, which for today's lesson is to familiarise yourselves with a scientific calculator, and an aspire one. The aspire one is that we want everyone to aim for, but not everyone is going to achieve it in every lesson, and that's absolutely fine. So today it's going to be to use a calculator appropriately and effectively. Let's have a look at your calculator. What do you notice about the numbers? Are the numbers the same as on a phone? And where else do you see those numbers? Has anyone got any questions about those? When I looked for the answers for these, it was actually the first time that I noticed that the numbers on the calculator are different to the ones on my phone. I hadn't noticed before, and it made me look at keypads on doors that I have to use, and the numbers are actually quite different. The calculator ones seem to be the ones that are in most places. On the phone one, the 0 is actually in the middle at the bottom, and they're just arranged in a different way. This leads me on to the next thing. So thinking about in lessons, what is it like in a maths lesson if you want to answer a question? Maybe you're a little bit worried whether you've got the right answer. At Bydales, we really talk about maths a lot. We discuss the answers, and even if we give a wrong answer, there is no problem with that because we learn so much more from wrong answers. So we discuss our work with each other and we say, could the answer be this because I'm thinking, or it can't actually be this. This answer doesn't look right. And you could say that even if you don't know the right answer, but you've noticed it doesn't seem quite right. Or the total is 20 more than this one, so it can't work. So when we discuss our work at Idell's, I want you to think about using these phrases. I know this is so because, or I wonder what will happen if we change it to that. Let's have a look at our first task. So we want to round these numbers to the nearest. It doesn't tell us to the nearest what. So have a look at the numbers. What do you notice about them? What do you think, estimating it, the total will be? And how many digits are you going to give after the decimal point? So have a go on your mini whiteboards and then we'll have a look at it together. One student gave me these numbers. They rounded 0.51 to 0.5, 150 and 200, and so on. You can see the numbers there. Looking at them, I've noticed they rounded each one to a different level of accuracy, which is absolutely fine. Someone else might have done it differently. Someone might have rounded them all to the nearest whole number. So we didn't specify, the question didn't specify, so any of these will be absolutely fine. Now, what do I estimate the total's going to be? Let's have a look. The way I would personally do it is I would say to myself, these two together are going to give me 1,000, and then I'll use a different colour. If I put my 200 with my 100, that's going to give me 300, and then I'm going to have my 11 and my 1, which gives me 12, and I'm going to have my 0.5. So I can see it's going to be 1,300, 12.5. Personally, if I'm estimating something, I wouldn't really want a decimal place. So I think I would have just rounded that roughly to 1,300. Let's have a look at these totals then. So they look as if someone has worked them out with a calculator, and we're asked to decide which one is correct. So because I've rounded it and worked it out a little bit, I'm having a look at these, and this one seems way too big, and this one seems too small. But on these two, we're really close together. A little bit less than what I've got. Might be okay. So let's have a look at our numbers. On this number, we'd rounded up from 150, so we're actually 50 higher than it would be. Yet on this one, we've gone down by 10. So at the minute, we're about 40 higher than we should be. And again, for this one, we're 1 higher. So where are we? We're on 1,312. So if we're roughly 40 too high, I think we're going to be roughly on that one. That one to me seems too small, but we would need to work it out with a calculator. One other thing we could look at is if we decided to add up the same place value and see whether that's getting us any closer. So have a go at that and see whether you can decide which one it was, which of those numbers, without using your calculator, and then check it with your calculator. So let's have a go at this task. We've got 5 lists of numbers. I would like you to estimate what you think the total is, then work it out using your calculator. And how can you be sure you've got the right answer? Because the disadvantage of a calculator is so easy to type in a wrong number. So always do the estimating first and then see whether your answer makes any sense. Okay, did you know you can type words using your calculator? So if you type in 0.1134, into your calculator and then hold it upside down, you will get the word hello. I didn't know this either. It's great, isn't it? So we want you to write 10 different calculations which will give 0.1134 as an answer. You might need to get your teacher to help you check your answers because there's so many possible ones we can't go through them all. Let me just give you a bit of a clue if you're wondering how to start. It says use all the operations at some point. So let's start with a divide. We could have 1.134 divided by 10, and the answer for that would be 0.1134. Now you have a go, see how many you can come up with. In my lessons, we always finish the lesson with the students writing a short reflection about what they have learned during this lesson. It's a great way for me to see in their books afterwards, so I know exactly who's struggling with each bit and who's understood something else. My students often send me a smiley face or a little message of something that they need help with, which I can then address. A good thing to write down is, did anything surprise you in what we've done today, or are there any questions you would like to ask? At Bydales, we really welcome you asking whatever you feel you need to ask in maths. It will really help your learning, so don't ever worry about asking a question. That this has given you some idea of what maths learning is like at Bydales. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.